Hi guys, I'm going to show you today a sew and flip method. I was talking to a friend of mine, Kathy, in Canada. Hi Kathy. Um, about she has arthritis and it's very hard for her to quilt. She gets help from her husband, which is a very sweet man. But I thought maybe this method might be a little easier for Kathy or Stephanie, which is my daughter, that's beginning to quilt. So I thought I would share with you guys my ideas. It's not new. It's not new to me. I'm sure that some of you've seen it and some of you may not. And I'm hoping you can see all of this with the camera. But here goes. I'll show you what I have together to do the first little square. And this is just, we're going to pretend like this is a mini quilt. And I'm going to sew it by hand because the pieces are really small. And I'm only going to do a few so you'll get an idea. Okay. This is my backing that I'm going to use. It's white unbleached, white bleached muslin. Sorry. This is my batting. It's an ultra thin 100% cotton. And this is what I like to use for baby quilts because quilts are pretty warm anyway. I don't like the bulky. Too much trouble for me to quilt. So what you're going to do to begin with is you're going to fold your back piece, whatever you're going to put on the back of your quilt, in half. And you can do this in sections, but this will work for a whole quilt. And then you're going to fold that in half again. So you're going to, and I'm just finger pressing, but if you have a big piece, you can always press it with your iron. So when you unfold this piece, well, maybe if I can unfold it, you see right there, I'm going to put a little pin right there, right here. Stick it right there. Maybe you can see that. That will be your center. And that's where you're going to start. I'll move this out of the way. This is one that I was going to show you. This would be a easy way to do this type of quilt for like a baby quilt. Because you're just going to build your squares. And I'm going to pretend like each one of these little squares is a 9-patch or the white solid. So we're going to do it this way. This is the way I will do this baby quilt. Okay, this is my little template. I have a rotary cutter and mat, but when I'm just sitting playing with my scraps, I like to keep just a little cardboard piece because these pieces are just 1.5 by 1.5. It's a good way to get that stash thrown out, and I hate to waste. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. I'm sorry, you can hear my puppy playing. Normally he would be outside, but today I think he wants to join in. Sorry, he's very young, and he would be a lot louder if I didn't let him come in here. So you're folding this in fours also. So you got your little marker there where your center will be, and you unfold it. So you take your pin and you put it through the center of that one and through the center of that one. That sort of holds your pieces together, and you line it up. So now you have the center of both of these pieces. Okay. To start out, we're going to use just let's do a solid color, that way you can see what I mean by marking. You're going to pretend like this is one of these bigger squares, this square or this square, whichever one you want to start in the middle of your quilt. And you're going to also fold it in half and then fold it in half the other way to get your center mark. This first one is important that you get your center mark. And you're going to put your pin right through the center of it. I hope you can see that, through the center of it. And then back through the center of your batting and backing. And line up your cross hatches here. Can you see? Come on, camera, focus for me. Maybe you can see that. And you see the little fold here and here, and then the ones there. Let me bring the camera down closer. Maybe you can see better. All right, is that better? All right, now, okay. Good puppy. So now this will be your first block, and what I need you to do, let's get a. And for demonstration purposes, I am going to use a ink pen. Please don't do this at home. I'm just doing it so you can see. You can take your pen out, or you can put it in to hold the whole piece down. Now that you've got everything centered, that's what you're going to be working with. And we're going to, like I said, pretend this is a bigger square. This is just a demonstration piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and mark. Maybe I may mark. And if you're really good at 1/4 inch, you don't have to mark. But like I said, this is going to be good for beginners. Okay, you mark your 1/4 inch with something like a the pens that are made that will disappear after you wet them. Quilt erasable. They have different colors. I have been told that the washable magic markers that you can buy for kids will also work. I've not tried it, so I'm not endorsing that, but if I try it, I'll be glad to make a video so you can see. Okay, now that we've got all our pieces lined up, and you can see this little block, and like I said, I keep repeating for those that are just now starting to watch, this is a pretend big quilt. We're just doing little bitty pieces so I can get it done quickly, but we're pretending like this would be a big quilt. Like possibly you're going to do the 3-inch 9-patch into a 9-patch and make a quilt that way. This is what I'm going to do with this one, and I'll show you the finished product when it's done. Okay, now this is your, if I can get it to focus now. Focus. Sorry, I moved everything and we lost focus. Maybe if I put some more colors down here. You can see that, but you can't see the white. Excuse me. Alright. I'm going to hold this up here. Maybe that'll focus. Come on, camera. Work with me. We were doing so good. Can make you dizzy. Oh no, come on. Ah, there it goes. You have to move things around sometimes with these cameras. Okay, I have a new camera, but I'm still learning it, so it would be worse than this. So eventually we'll get to that one. Okay, what you're going to do is, if this is your big quilt, then in this area here, you're not going to, do not quilt in your 1/4 inch seam. But you can quilt in this area. I'm going to pretend like that's quilting, because that's just way too much sewing and noise. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So you're going to quilt in this area. Like I said, do not quilt in this area. Once you have that done, then you're going to take your next square or block, if you're doing it in blocks, and you're going to lay right side to right side on top of the square you'd already quilted. And you're going to sew, starting at 1/4 inch. I'm just going to tack this on here so you can see what I'm talking about. It's a little thick to be done by hand, but It's alright. It's a way. Wrong needle to be quilting. But it's okay. This is demonstration purposes only, right? Okay. Whoops. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Because you'll be doing this, if you're doing bigger blocks, you'll be doing this with your sewing machine, which will make it a lot easier. Okay, you're going to sew over to, take a stitch back to, I'll lay that out of the way, I'm going to leave it attached. You're going to sew to 1/4 of an inch on this side and start at 1/4 of an inch in. So you're only sewing in the middle. Now that you've gotten that one sewn, you're going to turn this and press it. So see, you've got a really nice edge. This is quilted. You're going to then mark your, like I said, if you're an experienced quilter or a sewerist, you don't have to mark your 1/4 inch seams. You can pretty much eyeball this. But for beginners and people that are learning the technique here, sometimes it's best to mark your 1/4 inch. So we're going to pretend like that's the 1/4 inch. Let me get my focus here again. Maybe too bright on that one color, but okay, we're going. So now this is already quilted. You did your 1/4 inch. You don't have to worry about this 1/4 inch because it's underneath the this other side. You've already sewn it together here. So you fold it down, and you may quilt inside this square now, all the way up, and join it to the square you already put on. Now, another good thing about quilting, the sew and flip method, is you're not having to worry about quilting the whole quilt at one time. You're only going to be working on one side at a time. Right now it's this side. The next one will be you're going to have 2 squares. Whoops, those are not good squares. Sorry. These 2 might work. You're going to have your next 2 squares sewn 1/4 inch, just like you'd be putting it together a 9 patch. You're going to be working one side at a time, and I'm just sewing this together so you can. Normally I would already have my blocks made ready to put on the quilt, which means you could get this quilt done in a very rapid fashion. Okay. And I'm hand sewing, and I would normally be machine sewing, but this is just, like I said, for demonstration purposes only. Okay. Now you're going to take your next 2 squares that you've already gotten ready to go, and you can see those. Can you see those 2 squares? And they're going to go on this side of your quilt. Come on. Likes my ink pen for some reason. Focus, focus, focus. Maybe if we put something else up there. That's a little better. Okay. Just have to keep more things in the frame, I guess. So this is going to be your next square. You're going to line up your face down, right sides together, and you will be sewing. Let me turn this. You're going to sew starting 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to take big running stitches just so you can see, because this is it's 15 minutes. I don't want to bore you to death, but I do want you to see how easy it is just to keep adding squares and how you go around and around the adding your quilt pieces. And once you're finished, then all you have to do is add your binding strips. Okay, so you're going to sew all the way, there you go, pretend, all the way to a 1/4 inch from this end and a 1/4 inch from this end. And then you're going to press this open. And you see how this is working? Okay, for those that need it, then you're going to mark a 1/4 inch here and here, and all the way across. Of course, you're going to be quilting a larger area, but now this piece is already quilted. This piece is already quilted, and you've joined it here. So now you're going to quilt this piece and this piece at the same time, and you're going to join them over into your pieces that are already quilted. So you just keep continuing to build out. So the next time you will be putting 2 squares here. And the puppy's back. Shh, I'm working. Shh, be good, be good. Just a minute. I'm almost through. Okay, so you've started with this one, added 1, you're adding 2, then you're going to add 2 more, then you're going to turn the process. The next time you will be adding, let's say, I'm going to say 3. I am so sorry. 3. So you're building out. And this one will be 3. So every time you go around, you're only quilting. This will already be quilted. So when you get to this point, you're just quilting these 3 squares. You just have to worry about this outside edge to quilt. When you add your next 3 squares, you can add them on this end or that end or this end or on this end. It doesn't matter as long as you're making your blocks go outward. And then, like I said, when you get to the very end, we're pretending here, right? So you've sewn all these squares together. Of course, it's not going to look right because I'm just laying them out here, but you will get the idea. Another Mickey there, and let's put a green polka dot on this side. But there's lots of Mickeys in this bunch. It's fine. But you will have gone 1, 2, 3, 5 squares by 5 squares on this particular sample. And if you were using large squares, this would be your whole quilt. And everything would be quilted as you go around. It's almost like building a log cabin quilt. And then you can just put your binding on. I hope that helps people that really don't have the area to quilt a big quilt, nor the desire to try to quilt a larger quilt. You can do it a little bit at a time. This is almost like a quilt as you go project. The only difference is the quilt as you go project would be you make this quilt square and you quilt all of it, and you have another square that is ready and you will quilt all of it, and you put sashing or do it on strips on the back. So that'll be another example one day. I will show you that when I do my next quilt as you go, because I like to do things that when it's done, it's done. I don't have to worry about putting frames up or trying to get all that bulk under my sewing machine at one time and worry about the stitches or squares sliding. This way I know they are stationary when I put that down. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. I know you can't please everybody, but thank you for watching, and come see me at Signature Quilts by Woolly Cricket. Thank you.